All right, so welcome again to Tuesdays in the Boardroom, where we're mapping transitions that engage our talents, purpose, and allies. Today, we're really going to be focusing on connecting tools. In fact, the next 3 weeks, this week it's going to be connecting tools. Next week is going to be interviewing skills and the negotiating skills. So we're getting into some real technology here, tools that are needed in the wilderness to function effectively. You don't want to think about people as tools, but they are exactly how God works, is through other human beings. And sometimes we, in our dash to get our physical tools to build with, we forget that our human beings, our connections with human beings are the tools that can be used for our job search, for our next step, and also for us to be of service to them. And that's kind of a theme you're going to hear me talk about during this particular segment, is our connecting tools. The key word is connecting. The tools are useful, but how do we connect? And I want you to imagine a relay race where you've got the baton in your hand and you run a lap and you hand it to someone else and they run a lap. In order to win the game, all 4 runners have to correctly grab the baton and run as fast and as well as they can. So when you think about connecting and connecting to tools and to people, you've got to do a real active, it's not just bumping into, it's not just finding happenstance. There's a real verb to connecting, and remembering that how to connect to your mentors, how to connect to people is an important part of doing this. When you connect with them, and I think this is where most people get very stopped, is we're not quite sure how to connect our story and what we're looking for with the person in front of us or the tool in front of us. So looking once again at your promised land, where are you going? And I understand in the wilderness, there's not a lot of sense of, I don't know where we're going. Imagine going for 40 years in the wilderness like they did. But there was always a story of what the land of milk and honey was going to be like. So really looking at your story, what is your personal land of milk and honey going to look like? It's going to look like I'm in a home, I'm in a community, I'm in a job that leverages my winning formula, which, by the way, happens to be X, Y, and Z. So when you bump into somebody, you Zoom somebody, you go to a service with somebody online, being able to quickly identify who you are, where you're going, and what you're wanting, in the context of why that matters to them. So getting the promised land clear sometimes takes a little bit. If y'all need help with it, please reach out. So as you connect person to person, because I really want to focus on that concept. It's not the computer that's important, it's the computer that gets you to the person that's important. You're going to have goals, right? You're going to have goals. I want to get to the land of milk and honey. I want that job. I want that next step. It could be that you're going to need to go to school and get tutored. There may be some things you need to learn, because in the learning, you'll have the knowledge that you have to move forward. And guess what? Then you can actually start mentoring, because there's something about when you're in the wilderness needing help, that giving help happens almost simultaneously. So I loved this image that it's all connecting. So as we look at this time, yes, you need to be focused on the economic, creating that income stream, but it might be time to stop looking. When we're afraid, we become very narcissistic. When we don't have what we're looking for, we tend to look inside, which is good, but look outside and how to be of service. Because as you serve and connect, there are new ways for the Holy Spirit to work to move both of you towards what that plan is. So as you look at person-to-person connections, we can get very isolated in our homes during the pandemic. know that there are 10 million groups on Facebook. 10 million. If you can't find 10 that you would like to connect with, then you're not looking hard enough. Does that make sense? And I know we all have mixed opinions about Facebook, but they're like all things, there's good and bad on any medium. On Google, you personally can host up to 10 groups, which means thinking of yourself as an expert, perhaps you can put together a group, because these people that come to join you where you can tutor or mentor, these are new people to connect with. There are 42 languages that are supported by Google Groups for Business. Perhaps this is the time when we learn Spanish. We all talked about, oh, we need to know Spanish now in order to function in the world. Maybe we need to learn Chinese. Maybe it's time for us to learn Japanese. This is a time when there's holes. Everything's not filled up. Looking to fill it with something new, like learning a language. It could be in that language classes where you meet somebody who introduces you to the person who's hiring next. There are 92,000 professional trade associations in the United States. If you've been a member of a trade or professional association and you're not currently, this could be a great Christmas present. Tell your mother who's trying to buy you something and you don't need anything anymore, say, you know what, would you give me about $100 so that I can join this association? Because these associations are having Zoom meetings, they're having educational opportunities, they're having speakers, they're having breakout rooms where you meet people. There are 92,000 of them. There are 1,171 professional associations and chambers of commerce in Georgia. If you are not currently a member of your chamber of commerce because you don't have a company, I'm going to encourage you to think about having a company. Even if you are looking for a W-2 employment kind of arrangement, from even a tax perspective, having your own LLC, having your own business allows you to take tax deductions. It allows you to be able to maneuver in this gig economy. I highly recommend that you get that entity established. Then that entity can be an affiliate member of a chamber of commerce. It could be the attorney that you use to create the LLC has got a client that might be hiring today. So having the LLC is an important way to maneuver in the world outside of just looking to be the employee. I'm going to mention once again school. There are hundreds of undergraduate and graduate degrees with 100 majors and multiple fields of study within each of the programs. This could be the time to go back to school to get an MBA. If you don't have an MBA, a PhD, whatever could be the next thing, and you think, I've got to get a job. Well, again, if you've got your allies put together, you may have an ally who desperately wants to help you, who has resources but doesn't have time, or it doesn't have expertise that you need. This person may be willing to front you for the cost of getting your PhD or getting your master's. And in that master's course, maybe the person who's going to tell you about a position that has come available in their department that's never been advertised. But because you're pursuing the MBA that you've always wanted, or the PhD, or the undergraduate, maybe you want a secondary undergraduate, or maybe you would like a certificate. There are lots and lots of certificates that are now available in different areas that will allow you to enhance your resume. Once again, person-to-person connections. I'm going to talk about volunteering. Now, I understand it can be a little, it'll suck you in. So I totally get it when people go, I cannot volunteer because I'll give up all of my time and I won't look for a job and I won't make any money, and then I'm going to need to be, bailed out. So I want you to understand, when you go into volunteering, your mind has to be very clear that you're going to be doing two things. You're going to be volunteering because it feeds your soul, but you're also going to be networking through the volunteering. There are 50,000 volunteer opportunities at serviceyear.org. I'm just giving you an example. So once again, if you decide, you know what, I am sick of this job search, I'm going to go get funding for a year. I'm going to go volunteer through Service Year for a year. I'm going to have somebody rent my apartment, my house, get the financial side handled, because resources like money can be figured out. We've got a very linear idea of I have to have a job and then I'll have resources. We have to put jobs, resources, money, they have to be pieces of a puzzle, not dominoes. Right now, caregiving, as in no other time in the world, is going to be moving up because of COVID. You can actually become certified and make money doing caregiving, and there's some flexibility with that. There are other roles like this. If you'll pay attention to what's going on economically, where is the need? Not all of it has to be your volunteer, your time, or your money. It could be that you can find something where you can actually make money during this time. There are mentoring programs that are not only exterior, but within organizations. So if you volunteer to be a mentor within an organization and you get to know a dozen to 100 people within that organization who see you as a mentor, suddenly when a departmental opening happens, they already know you, you're already in their mentoring. There are tutoring opportunities for you personally. I know a lot of people that go and learn the Microsoft suite. They're not tip of tongue with all the Microsoft stuff. They don't know how to use Teams. They're getting to know use Zoom. If you don't know how to use Zoom, if you don't know how to use Teams, find somebody who'd be willing to tutor you. Or if you do, tutor someone else. Udemy, udemy.com has got online tutoring jobs. We have as a sandbox, just put a bunch of resources on these sheets. We are not experts. We are in the wilderness with you because Udemy is a new thing, but it is a fabulous new place for people to go and get degrees. It used to be there was some stigma to having an online degree. The stigma's over. The world has changed. Of course, our institutions that have fine reputations, some of you may choose to attend, but know that there's more opportunity online now than there ever has been before. In fact, you'll notice this picture, I've got the world. You can literally mentor to people internationally. So when you think about mentoring, you don't have to think about just people in your local community. You can be mentoring online in many, many places simultaneously. Indeed.com, for example, has part-time tutoring, part-time jobs. So I'm going to encourage y'all to get out into the wild world of online. Be cautious. There's a lot of things out there, just like leaving your home to go to the marketplace in your community, to go to the main square. You have to be cautious. There are people there that are, have not good intentions, but there are also lots of really fabulous people there. So go into this. If you want to find an expert, find them, but go and expand what you think about what you're looking for when you're looking online. Herman Melville says we cannot live only for ourselves. So as you're in your job search, please think about others. 1,000 fibers connect us with our fellow men. And among those fibers, as sympathetic threads, our actions run as causes, and they come back to us as effects. So as you go out and you cause other people to be touched by you, and it's a positive experience, it will come back as an effect. We're all connected. We are all one. We forget that when we get so isolated and focused on our own path. Albert Camus said, when you have once seen the glow of happiness on the face of a beloved person, you know that a man can have no vocation but to awaken that light on the faces surrounding him. In the depth of winter, I finally learned that within me there lay an invincible summer. So as we move into winter, I want you to understand and to realize there is that invincible summer that's within you. There's an invincible love, which is the well that's brought to us through faith and in our relationship with God. Once again, as we look at what's ahead, we only have 3 more sessions this 12 week. We'll be starting a brand new 12 week in January, but towards the end, we've got next week, we're going to be doing interviewing skills. As you go out and connect, you're going to have opportunity to interview for a job interview for a volunteer position, interview to be a mentor, interview to tutor. So how do you interview and see yourself and the other person as in a dance? And that segues perfectly into negotiation skills, because negotiation skills is not just about a ruthless conversation to get what you want. It's about finding out what they need, what you need. How can you work together so that both are well served? Once again, we're here. So in between sessions, in between weeks, if you have questions, if you are getting stuck, if you need us for any reason, we are here. So I'm going to stop the share. And we're going to complete the recording. For all the people who are watching the recording, we get to sit and have a fun conversation, and we enjoy it a lot. We hope more people will join us for the after session after the video.